you've been inspired, you've been stuck, or you just really want all those feelings to flow out through a song, but you're stuck and you don't know how to write one. I'm gonna help you with that. For any reason you might be writing a song, this is the easiest way to do it, I think. Why should you trust me? I don't know, but here's my way. So, you can always flip-flop the steps a little. Sometimes I start with lyrics, sometimes I start with chords, sometimes I start with a melody in my head, but most of the time it's with step 1.
Chord progression.
I do this as the first step because then it's easy when you're playing the chords to find the melody that feels right. So that's what we're gonna start with. Grab your instrument. I usually play my guitar, but I also have my piano. Capo not necessary. Also, if you don't have an instrument, you can always go online and like search up chord progression. Chordify is really good. You can look at chord progressions for your favorite songs. Oh, I also like Chrome Music Lab, where you can physically like pick out the notes of your chord, and that's really fun to use. And if you don't have an instrument, perfect for you. Oh, so many songs use this basic chord progression: C, G, A minor, F. There's also any like kind of flip-flop of that. You could do G, C, F, A minor, anything like that. I really like using E minor, so like C, E minor, D, and F. Usually ending on F sounds pretty good. Just find a basic chord progression and then like strum pattern. If you're a piano type of person, then you can also do the same chords on the piano. Here are some basic chords you can use. C, G, A minor, F, A major, D major, E minor, E major. I really like using E major.
You can do
any other chord progression you want. I'm just going to be using the basic C, G, A minor, F. You can get creative. Essentially, steal a chord progression, look up a chord progression, or make one up with the chords that you already know. Step 2. Grab a notebook or a phone or a computer or anything you can write stuff on. I'm using my favorite pasta notebook because I don't really like writing on a screen, but if you do, I really recommend Songcraft. It's really good. It shows you like the key that your song's in when you enter in the chords, lyrics, like rhyme suggestions. It's pretty cool, and it's not like AI songwriting. Don't worry about that. The only downside is that you have to pay for more than 5 songs of use. I kind of just hacked the system and just like copy and paste the songs that are already finished onto Google Docs and stuff, and then just reuse the same 5 song slots over and over. But yeah, it's a really helpful tool if you're into that, if you're into like typing your song. But if you're like me, go for that. In my pasta notebook, it's pretty full of songs and ideas. With this, open up to a blank page or a blank document or whatever, and just brain dump everything that you're feeling. You can start with topics if you don't have one already in your mind, but if you have a subject already, then just start writing down every single thing in your mind, every phrase or idea that comes to mind when you think of that subject. I filled like entire pages with this stuff. This is a song that I'm gonna write soon because I already brain dumped for it. Sometimes I go really thorough, sometimes I do much less, but just find that subject that you really have a lot to say about. And that's what I brain dump. This might be my favorite part of writing. Just getting it all out all on the page. It feels really good. If you don't have much to say, then just write all that comes to mind, and while you're writing the song, some more might surface. Once you have your page filled out, your ideas flowing, step 3 is the melody.
time to find a melody.
While you're just strumming or playing your chords in any way, then just start to come up with a melody. We're singing with laws or any syllable you want. La 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 it's probably really bad, but do it until it feels right. I think the best way to start with your melody is to find a catchy chorus melody. And while I'm coming up with a melody, I'm looking at my brain dump sheet and some of the phrases that I really like and just kind of singing them along to my chord progression until I find something that works. And then I just, on another piece of paper, just start writing down like verse 1, lyrics, blah, blah, blah. Once we get to this part, it's about song structure. Step 4, writing the lyrics.
Oh yeah, we're real writers now.
Because you've already dumped all that information on the page, it's much easier to come up with some lyrics. I also think that's the easier part to coming up with a melody. Once you already have the concept in mind and all the words ready, you're all set. So I start with my pretty much every time song structure. It gets a little varied at the end, but we'll talk about that. Verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus. Verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus. Then sometimes a bridge. The bridge is just like kind of a free-for-all. There's a lot of like ups and downs usually. That's like the most dramatic part of the song. And then ending chorus or ending verse. That's where it gets a little complicated. You can really do all you want at the end. You don't have to add a bridge. You could wrap it up with a repeat of the chorus
Or
variation of the verse. Also, you don't have to always include a pre-chorus. That helps the transition between the verse and the chorus become more distinct, especially if you're changing the chord progression, which you don't have to. A lot of my songs just keep the same chord progression all the way through, but changing the chord progression does help that shift seem easy to spot. A lot of the times when I'm writing the songs, I like to start with the chorus. That's the most important part. Once that's done, going back to the verse is a lot more easy because often the verse has a bit more of a basic melody, and then the chorus, that's really what you want your audience to be excited about and what you want them to remember. And that's the hook of your song. I'm going to show you an example of a song I wrote in the pasta notebook. This song right here, essentially, we have chord progression C, A minor, F, G. Just a basic like change of the C, G, A minor, F, like common chord progression. I just flip-flopped and put A minor second. I usually do 4 lines in the verse. I rhyme the end of the line usually as well. So I wrote, can't stop praying, flowers bloom when it's January. Last thing that I said to you echoes like an omen. Way back when you were more than perfect, through a warped looking glass. Been a unit for much too long, still going, never strong. That's my verse. And then I did not add a pre-chorus. Then the chord progression completely changes up. You don't have to follow any script here. It doesn't have to be traditional. You can play a lot, adding some little flair to the ends of the lines, anything like that. Guys, I've yapped on this subject for so long. I could go on forever. So, I don't know how helpful that was, but I hope it was helpful to you. That's generally the steps I write all my songs in. Bye guys. Please subscribe if you like this video. I love songwriting and talking to you guys. Watch my songs. Bye.